This is the Spurs POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the San Antonio Spurs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, generally speaking, when your team blows a 25-point lead against the worst team in the NBA that only has 3 wins on the season, more often than not, the tone of the program to start a show is going to be a little bit negative. But you know what? When the day is saved by the prized young rookie and another young talent returns after missing almost a month, it gives you a little bit of a reason to smile. And that's what we're going to do tonight on the Spurs POSTCAST right here on Locked On Spurs. San Antonio tonight, surviving in every sense of the world, the New Orleans Pelicans, a 3-win Pelican team, 135-132 on the back of some heroics from their young rookie Dylan Harper. He, of course, NBA champion Devin Brown. My name's Casey Viera, talking about an evening, my friend, that was very close to being very bad, but the young fella coming off of the worst performance of his young career in Harper bounces back tonight with his best.
Hey, Casey, it was troublesome to watch. We talked about that, but you had one of the oldest players in the NBA and one of the new budding stars pulling out for San Antonio. Let's talk about it. Let's get right to it.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Well, the good news is the Spurs played another great first half, went up by as many as 25. They went up by 20 at the break. Harrison Barnes, the old fella that you were alluding to, part of a Spurs offense that put up 77 points in the first half, hit 11 of their 19 three-pointers. Barnes had 14. It looked like it was going to be light work. Taking on a Pelicans team that has just been hapless for the most part. They fired their head coach, Willie Green, a few weeks ago, and they're playing in front of like 3,000 fans right now because nobody's checked into the Pelicans. It's been a rough time to be a New Orleans sports fan past few years. Point being, it looked like it was going to be the Spurs night. But as we've come to learn, regardless of the iteration of the Pelicans that they throw out there, they always give the Spurs a fight, and fought back they did. And stop me again where you've heard this before, a miserable third quarter from San Antonio gets New Orleans back into the game. That 25-point lead gone. New Orleans outscores the Spurs 45 to 23 to take a 2-point lead into the fourth quarter of play. That's the second consecutive game that the Spurs have given up 40+ in a third quarter. They get their way back into it. They bounce back. They trade punches. New Orleans takes the lead. Derek Queen had a triple-double tonight on the New Orleans side of things. But inside 30 seconds left, Dylan Harper, though, the difference maker, the go-ahead score, a layup with 9.1 seconds to go. Queen responds, misses the potential game winner, and free throws exchange. San Antonio walks away with a 135-132 win. The line for Harper looks like this: 22 points, 3 boards, 6 assists, 10 of 16 from the field, 9 points in the fourth quarter of play. Barnes with 24, Fox 14 and 7. Stephon Castle, his first game in almost a month. We'll hit on that in a bit. 18 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 of 15 shooting in 23 minutes of work. It was ugly, very ugly. Very much, however, a sense of exhale. They survived what would have been easily their worst loss of the season, distantly. But you like it even a little bit more because you see the Dylan Harper bounce back, and ultimately they pick up their 16th win of the year.
Yeah, so Dylan was big tonight, in the sense that, he hit some shots down the stretch and things like that. As far as what's going wrong in the third quarter, it was the same recipe. It was New Orleans starting to get things going with a couple of their guys, and offensively, the Spurs falling into one-on-one basketball. But that's what you have in Castle, in Harper, in Fox. So when you see those possessions when they're doing that, as somebody that's been in the system, that's just unheard of. I mean, Pop, wasn't going to stand for that. But this is a part of, right, we're trying to separate Mitch from Pop in certain ways. So Mitch does let these guys play a little bit more. But it's getting them in trouble, when you're used to the ball moving and things like that. Because like you said, the first half when the ball's moving, it's great. And offense looked great. I thought some of the starters are going to be able to rest that second half, but here came Pelicans, and they got back in it. But that's what made San Antonio good this year, is that they're able to still hold on and get the victory in a game like this, and not have it be the other way, and then have us, Casey and Devin, drilling their team. So yeah, it was good to see them pull it off, Casey.
I know Dylan Harper saved a seething rant from us tonight. So
Yes.
I'm sure that was his primary concern at the end of the day. Somebody in the comment brought up a good point, and I was thinking about this. So I got to show them love, because this is Fiona who said this in the comment. Because the comment is that it feels like the Spurs just bailed out on raw talent. And I don't think there's any better way to describe that at times when you look at when they get in some of these situations that they've fallen in. Because they are a talented team. They, whatever you want to call it, check out maybe in these third quarters. I don't know what it is, but there's some sort of disconnect that happens between
shot selection.
You think it's just the shot selection? That's what it is. I don't.
Well, no,
know.
it's one of okay. It's one of the deals, but it comes down to. You got some guys on this team that are, just in this case, they're looking for numbers. They're looking for, if you're averaging 16 a game, which is good, and you got a 20-point lead, and you're at 8 or 9 points, you'll take a look at the scoreboard, see what you got to get to. And I just think that, my whole thing when I say shot selection, I'm meaning the ball's not moving, and then you'll just see, and like Casey, 2 or 3 possessions, 2 or 3 different guys going for their own. And so you're like, what's going on?
You think that's a youth thing?
Oh, it's definitely a youth thing.
Yeah.
It's all about what you can get away with, right? They've been around Mitch a whole lot longer than we have. You know what you can get away with Mitch. You know what he likes and what he dislikes. And you have Castle, who's in his second year, who is really good at basketball. You have De'Aaron Fox, who's established, and now you have Harper, who's coming on strong. You can't tell me that those 3 don't look at each other when they go their separate ways and go, oh, okay, I see what he's doing, and the other ones, I see what he's doing. So it happens, because you know why? It's the NBA. It happens.
It's shooting them out of these games at times. It's getting them to the point where it's worrisome when they play these good teams, and you feel like it's going to be the preventative thing that stops them from taking the next step once these good teams come about. I mean, for better or worse, they have fallen into it, and they've dug themselves out of it. The Raptors game at the time, we didn't put much stock into Toronto at the time, but it turns out they're actually a pretty good team. The Spurs blew a 20-point lead. I don't believe Toronto took the lead in that game, but still they got very much back into it. The Spurs fended them off. They fended off the Miami Heat. But then contrarily, they blew a double-digit lead against the Lakers. They blew a double-digit lead against the Warriors. This is, and I guess, when you say that out loud, I guess some of that's kind of like the ebbs and flows of the NBA by default. But I think there's a difference between that and just giving up 45 in a quarter. The other day, 44 in a quarter in the third quarter, where the Cavaliers made 14 shots in a row. I don't know. It just feels like something is slightly off on that front. And I say it all the time. If we see it, they see it. Mitch sees it. The whole staff sees it. But it just feels something is not there on that front. And I don't know how. I mean, if it is something as simple as shot hunting, I guess that can be fixed. You would know better on that front than me, but it just seems like
so. You're okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, you're talking. Okay, so you're hitting me 2 different ways here, because defense. You're right. Yeah. Defense. The Spurs been known for defense. So where does that start? we all know what position comes up first and who's usually guarding the point guard or the other team. Our point guard.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll start there. But how are you going to tell that guy, hey, I need you to get in the stance a little bit more?
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
he just got an extension. Yeah. All right. You see where
There's
I'm
just a
going with
level
that?
of complacency, man, that just drives you nuts.
Hey,
It just drives you nuts. And I think talent alone, and who would have thought we've gotten to a world where, where talent alone is bailing the Spurs out of these games. But I just think that's what it is, because they're just playing down too much. And again, this is what you saw. He's biting his tongue over there.
no, hey, listen, you're yes, the talent, because you had 7 Spurs that were in double figures, right?
Right.
So I mean, I told you this before. It's coming from everywhere. But if you start getting in there, really trying to find the root of what's going on, I mean, the front office knows. Come on, they know. That very smart people.
We're saying this about a 16 and 17. Just imagine
Yeah,
what we would
exactly.
say. Just imagine about what we would say about a 7 and 16 team. Just imagine how we would sound the tone of this conversation if they lost this game, where we would be going.
Yeah, you're
We're
talking about
fired up. We're fired
the
up
other
after a
team.
win.
Yeah, you're talking about the other team. If you're looking for, I didn't even see your boy Jordan Poole on the bench. Did you see him?
No, you want to talk about shot hunting, man.
Yeah.
You want to talk about shot hunting. There you go. All right, everyone exhale, because at the end of the day, the Spurs do walk away with a win. They do move to 16 and 7 on the season. They do now wait for the Los Angeles Lakers, or soon to be en route to Los Angeles, to take on the Lakers in the knockout round of the Emirates Cup coming up on Wednesday. Let's talk about that and a little bit more. And a guy who is going to be back for that, Stephon Castle. He did return tonight. A little bit of a mixed bag in his return. Plus some news on Victor Wembanyama, his potential availability for that Laker game coming up. I've got a pretty good feeling about that. We'll tell you about that and a little bit more about what's on our minds here on the Locked On Spurs postcast following a messy but productive San Antonio victory tonight. Let's talk to you, however, though, first with about some of our friends that drive this program. All right, well, nobody knows your money goals better than you do. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks, ETFs, options, futures, crypto, all on one platform. And now you can build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, so expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/your money. Again, that's robinhood.com/your money. Your money, your move. And meanwhile, as we know, NFL Sundays move fast, and one big play, suddenly everything feels a whole lot different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel that much more exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you place the bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, momentum swing, highlight moment, all that good stuff. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. The receiver gets hot, defense tightens up, the momentum flips after a turnover. Hopefully you weren't taking that Broncos game yesterday because you got left out on a couple of points thanks to the Raiders at the end. Either way, you're going to have a lot of fun. You want to be right in the middle of the action this season. So head on over to FanDuel.com. Place your NFL live bets all season log with FanDuel. The game moves fast, and so can you. Spurs winners tonight, 135-132. To move to 16 and 7 on the season and getting a little bit healthier in the process here on the Spurs postcast, where I guess we're always healthy. Now that I say that, Stephon Castle's healthy, back tonight, 23 minutes of work, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Mitch Johnson, perhaps expectedly, elected to go with Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox in crunch time, as opposed to mixing Castle in there, or even the 3-guard lineup, which I believe we did not see in any capacity tonight. I'll double check that, but I don't believe we saw the 3-guard lineup in any capacity. So we'll hit the pause button on that conversation for now. What'd you like? What didn't you like? Where do we go from here? Your takeaways from Steph's return this evening?
No, he is, arguably, whoever is looking at it, he is probably the Spurs' second best player. He had some impressive moves tonight that are right up his alley. He can play everything that you want in a point guard, 6'5", gets everybody involved, can go get his own. On that spin move, he should have dunked that, but you know what, save it for the LA game coming up. But I'm pretty sure that crossed his mind, but just tremendous in what it is that he does. And I see what you're trying to do there with him not playing down the stretch, but that's all right. That's all right, Casey. I see what you're doing there.
That's what Mitch did. That's what he did.
Mitch is stirring. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
But look, hey, in all seriousness, he didn't really have to do it tonight, but this LA game coming up, he's gonna have Luka. Or if LeBron has one of these quarters like he did the other day, or Austin Reed, who he's going to be the main guy guarding them, and that's why I like seeing him play.
I'm sure an element of frustration of the many that Mitch probably will have tonight was that with blowing that lead, it kind of took them theoretically at a position where I'm sure they would have liked, if they're up 25 in the fourth quarter, obviously keeping your guys healthy is paramount. One, but two, you probably missed out on an opportunity to try to get that 3-guard lineup going on. At least get a look at it. I don't know. I mean, they would have maybe prioritized sitting them first and well-being. Maybe you leave Castle out there to find his legs a little bit more. But I would think that's probably an aspect that they would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, I hear so much about it. And our squad show that we're gonna have tomorrow with Jeff, we need to talk about that because Jeff is more into building. Like this is why I say this, Casey, because I want to know how much Mitch is listening to the outside of everybody wanting to see this. So is he intentionally not doing this, or do the Spurs look at it as they don't like those three playing together? You see what I'm saying?
And honestly, I think that's it. Like everyone assumes like that's going to be the case because of just the title of who they are. All-star, rookie of the year, number 2 draft pick, all play the same position. So you have to find a talent. They're going to find a way onto the floor to try to make it work. We don't know that they look at it like that.
Right.
We don't know that they look at it like that. If you strip the labels off of all three, get rid of the all-star title, the rookie of the year accolades, and where Dylan Harper was taken, they might just look at it as 3 good players that, okay, if one of them's got it going right now, then we're going to go with just one of these guys. If 2 of the 3, we'll go with them too. We don't care who you are, but we're just going to mix and match and, have no real rhyme or reason just because of who they are, at least in this rookie year where they don't necessarily owe Dylan Harper a whole lot, being that he's
right.
A rookie,
So the reason why I say that is because, with those 3, well, you're not going to have the situation of the days when I play, where you're trying to play a guy between 37 and that 41-minute deal. Yeah. Well, you don't have to do that with these 3. It's, you can 25, 26 is good. So maybe they're looking at it like that, but it seems like there's no rush in them wanting to put that 3-headed monster out there or whatever people are calling it.
Well, and I mean, they honestly, maybe they don't view it as the best path to success right now.
Yeah.
The immediacy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're winning.
Casey, in all honesty, it's kind of hard to see anything when you don't have the big fella out there, because at the end of the day, you got to mesh with him too,
No, that is true. That is true. I guess normalcy is thrown out the window entirely, because of him. Well, it always is thrown out the window entirely, normalcy. But hey, you know what? Since we brought him up, and we got to get out of here in a little bit too, I think that's a pretty good time to talk about what is the update with Victor Wembanyama? Because it's a good one. He made the trip. He and obviously Stephon Castle made the trip to New Orleans. Steph did play. Mitch Johnson talked about Victor pregame, gave an optimistic outlook. Victor did work out pregame. It was individuals, nothing overly crazy. But then again, in shoot-arounds, and the Spurs as a whole aren't going to give you access to anything crazy. All signs would indicate that come Wednesday, Victor Wembanyama is going to be back. It's time. All signs would point to that. Spurs have been known Spurs have been known to pull fast ones, and who knows? Who knows? They've never cared. They've never cared about games on national TV and appeasing the viewer.
Okay.
That's never stopped them before the organization.
I see what you're doing there.
Shout out 2012.
Yeah.
That's $250,000. They got docked because they didn't play the starters on TNT.
Yep.
But in all seriousness, things looking pretty good. Pretty good track to have Victor back for Wednesday in the biggest game of the year.
Hey, it's the NBA Cup. Come on now. That's all I'm gonna say. Hey, if he plays, great. If he doesn't, it's an opportunity for these other guys now to really step up in a huge game, Casey.
Another guy who will be there, presumably, you would think, our player of the game this evening.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Who you got, young fella or the old fella?
No, I'm gonna go with Dylan Harper. That was a tough layup. He had what's your man's name? Bay?
Yeah.
Like we were at the rodeo or something, riding him all the way down like a bull. But he was able to finish. Hey, and he bounced back because he had a rough game in front of Pops the other day. So definitely gonna go with Mr. Harper. Congratulations. That was a great game, great finish, and good win by the Spurs.
Yeah, best game of his career after certainly the worst game of his career Friday in Cleveland. Had a good weekend to shake it off. We are back in plenty this week because tomorrow, as always, we have our Spurs squad show coming to you just after the top of the 9 o'clock hour. As we know, the three of us will get together, talk. Now, we're going to have a lot to talk about between Castle and Harper and Wemby and the Lakers. You're not going to want to miss it. You're going to want to come back for that. And, of course, the Laker game on Wednesday. Devin, start resting up now because that's going to be a long night for us with the 9 o'clock tip, national TV.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be one of them late shows. So start hydrating right now. That, of course, going to be Wednesday, the Emirates Cup knockout game after the 9 o'clock tip-off late right here on the Spurs postcast on Locked On Spurs. And as always, we put a bow on these things by showing love to the everydayers like yourself for making all of this possible and making the Locked On Sports Network the #1 sports podcast network in the world right now. And it's because of the individuals like yourself that check in with us. And not only Locked On Spurs, all the Locked On platforms, wherever you may get them every single day. So that said, an uneasy night, but a good night because the Spurs walk away 135-132 winners, and they do it on the back of their young stars tonight in New Orleans. And with that said, I think that's a good place for us to check out for the night and get some sleep ahead of a busy week on deck. So for my dear friend, Mr. NBA champion Devin Brown, I'm Casey Viera. We'll talk to you tomorrow night for the Spurs Squad Show right here on Locked On Spurs.